Hey guys, Matt from World of Fitness here, and I've got Dr. Satbir in here. I'm absolutely honoured and happy to have him here. Like, this guy is the only doctor that I absolutely go to, purely because so many times there's conflicting of ideology and what have you, and this guy knows his stuff. And as you can see, he looks like an athlete. And that means a lot to me, you know, when you go to someone for health advice and they actually are in great shape themselves. So if you just do a quick introduction of yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Hey, I'm Satbir Aulakh. I work as a GP and a anti-aging or wellness doctor. Other days when I'm not working as a GP, so pretty much the emphasis on wellness, the emphasis is on eating healthy, training, sleeping well, getting your hormones right, and just leading a normal life. So yes, that's what we do. So we advocate that and we practice. I try and practice what I preach.
Absolutely. I mean, when I first met this Satbir, it was almost like a kid in a playground. I was like, "You do what?" And I went into Myers cocktail and stuff like this. I don't think many people understand what a Myers cocktail is. Do you want to explain what it is? Because I've done it myself twice now, and it's amazing.
Well, Myers cocktail is a cocktail which is given intravenously. So it involves putting a little cannula inside, and through which we can deliver vitamin C high doses. 15 grams of it, and then there is glutathione, which is a super antioxidant, helps you detox the liver, keeps the vitamin C floating around longer. It's got magnesium, around 2.5 grams of it, and it's got vitamin B1 to B12, the B complex intravenously. So it's given over 1 hour or a bit longer than 1 hour, and helps you replenish all your nutrients if you've been depleted.
Absolutely, and I can speak for myself. It makes you feel amazing, but obviously when you eat, stuff has to get absorbed and broken down, but not all the nutrients you eat gets absorbed, right? And so that's the great thing, is when it goes to the bloodstream, then you're missing out that sort of absorption phase, and then you actually get to replay it straight into the bloodstream. And there's so many other things that I've seen there. It's like, you know, when you go into a toy shop, I want to see all the toys, it's pretty cool. And the reason I've come in today as well is that so I'm a huge advocate of intermittent fasting, done it for around just over 5 years now. And then when myself and Dr. Satbir here got chatting, then found out that he's also an advocate of intermittent fasting himself, which is obviously a great thing, and coming from a doctor, it's great to see someone that's keeping on that cutting edge. So what kind of fasting do you do?
Well, I practice intermittent fasting, which is 16 and 8, so I fast for 16 hours, which is easy for me, you know, for my lifestyle, so I don't have to prepare breakfast. So I'm happy to wait till 2 p.m. every day when I break my fast. Intermittent fasting, I haven't been doing it as long as you have been, but I've been doing it for 18 months, and I can't have breakfast. I can't go back to my usual 3 meals a day thing.
What would you see as sort of your main benefit that you can get from fasting?
Yes, I mean, energy. It's amazing when you're fasting, you get this amazing energy, you're so focused. I can do my work much better as opposed to if I had 3 meals. So so energy is there. You lose fat, body fat, which is good. And I'm aware of the intra-abdominal fat, the fat that is hidden inside your viscera, around your liver, around your gut, around your prostate. There's 16 cancers that are directly linked to intra-abdominal fat, and that is the fat we never burn. You know, the body keeps it away for a rainy day. We use it when there's famine, which doesn't happen. So we keep eating 3 times a day and a few snacks in between, so you never get to use that fat. That fat gets stored, accumulated around your heart, around your viscera, around your organs, all your life, and you end up getting cancers when you're 50 or 60, or you get diabetes, you get Alzheimer's. In fact, Alzheimer's is now known as type 3 diabetes. So factors that lead to lead to diabetes also lead to Alzheimer's. So it's all linked. It's all linked under the umbrella of the metabolic disorders. I'm scared to get there, so I try and burn the fat. So that was the main reason why I started intermittent fasting.
Wow, see, I didn't know that certain fat doesn't get burnt until you're in a fasted state.
True.
Wow. Wow! I'm learning already.
Well, there is up to 12 hours, there is enough glycogen in your liver to release. So you're still not using the fat. So real fasting starts 12 hours and beyond.
Yeah.
And if you're exercising, lifting weights, or doing what you do here, you probably get there maybe a bit quicker than 12 hours. But most people will not use their glycogen up to 12 hours, and that's when the fasting starts. So
Yeah, right.
that's when you start burning that fat that's been stored for the raining day.
Yeah, that's wow, how incredible is that? Well, also like obviously your HGH, your human growth hormone, elevates during that time.
That's right,
You say like the benefits of that.
Well, if you're over 40 as I am, human growth hormone is everything for you.
Over 40, the fountain of youth.
44 now. But human growth hormone is so important. It helps us grow, as we all know. Kids get to their height that they are supposed to get as per their genes. And after that, we didn't know in mainstream faculty, if I may call it the medical faculty, we don't talk about human growth hormone. But I think human growth hormone is something that depletes as we age. Hence the poor sleep, hence the poor recovery, hence the wrinkling of skin, and aging, and the skin getting loose on your limbs actually. So human growth hormone, how do you increase human growth hormone? So studies have shown, when they did on mice, I think it was 2015, they did a study on mice and found mice that were kept on an intermittent fasting diet looked younger than the other ones that ate all the time. So human growth hormone is made when you're fasting. So most people would make human growth hormone when they're sleeping. But we want to have more human growth hormone, so we fast for 16 hours. So even after you wake up, you're still making human growth hormone. And you feel good, you recover well.
So I know that when they did that first sort of study, in a way, they said that sleep was so important. They didn't realise, they thought you released HGH when you're sleeping. They didn't realise that if you don't break that fast, then you carry on making it during the day as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And being such a big blocker of like catabolism, that's sort of like a preserver of lean mass hormone as well. That's pretty incredible.
So the moment you eat food, the insulin goes up. And when insulin goes up, human growth hormone shuts down. So they work in the opposite way. So when there is insulin, there's no human growth hormone. So if you want human growth hormone, stop eating food.
Absolutely. Like all throughout history, we've had less and less like insulin release, so like the feast and fast was like a norm. It's almost like what we've adapted for. And then in this current maybe even 50 to 100 years, now insulin becoming more and more released because food's so readily available. Do you think this is contributing, obviously as well as the higher amounts of sugar, towards like type 2 diabetes?
I think you nailed it there. As humans, we are not meant to eat so many times. So when we lived in the caves back in millennia ago, we used to get food and then go fast. Before you can get your next hunt, or you go fasting for 3 to 4 days.
Absolutely.
So you would not make insulin all the time. And now that we are eating 3 meals and snacking in between, this insulin is being spiked all the time, and the body gets insulin resistant. Resistance to insulin is the reason why we get type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. Because that's what it is basically, isn't it? Is it insulin resistant? Well, and also like insulin is like a storing hormone, right? Am I right in saying that like it can contribute towards like building muscle, but also like storing of fat is that instant release. So all the time eating. So it's crazy to think not that long ago, people for losing weight were thinking little and often, eat little and often the whole time. It's madness, isn't it? When you actually think about it.
True. One more thing I would like to add is when you break your fast, you're very, very insulin sensitive. And
I love this. It sounds like the stuff I've been saying. So like, you carry on, man. I love it.
So the sensitivity of insulin, it's a double-edged sword. It's good. But if you have a pack of chips, you get so sleepy. If you had a few grapes, you get so sleepy, or watermelon, you get sleepy because insulin works in far better way. So you get hypoglycemic. So when you break your fast, eat something which is low glycemic index. I wouldn't eat sugary drink or something. Then it works backwards. It's detrimental for you, and you get more sleepy, and you have less productive work.
Absolutely. Maybe something a bit leaner. Absolutely.
And you still eat within reasonable, measures of healthy food. And then before you go to bed, you can. Once you've been eating for 8 hours, You can put in some other, you can have an occasional chocolate or
Yeah.
a few chips or a wine or something, but that would be towards the later part of the day.
Yeah.
But not the first meal. I wouldn't have alcohol or
Absolutely.
have chips or fries or.
And like you can kind of take advantage of that insulin sensitivity as well, right? That because of the fact you are so insulin sensitive, say if someone was wanting to build muscle and they had like a high protein meal for that, they'd absorb more of the protein, right?
Yeah, and the insulin will go into the muscle to get muscle growth.
Yes. So this whole thing of like, fasting is going to make you rip your muscle fiber away is totally a non-truth, because human growth hormone is a big preserver of lean mass. So when you're in that fasted state, it stops you from breaking that muscle fiber down. But when you do break that fast, you have a higher insulin sensitivity, so you absorb more of the protein coming in, which hence leads you more towards your goals.
Yep.
So another huge benefit is autophagy. So like, explain away.
Well, autophagy is when the body starts to, as we get older, the ability to lose the senile cells, the cells that should have passed away a long time ago, diminishes. So we hang on to those old cells for longer. Those cells are building up everywhere around your heart, around your brain, and they hang around for longer. And autophagy is when the body starts to remove those cells, and it happens when you're fasting, when you haven't eaten for 16 hours or 24 hours, and that's when the body starts doing autophagy, and that tends to get rid of those cells, and those cells have been known to release these chemicals that attract cancers and that attract inflammation. So yes, if you want to remove inflammation from your body, intermittent fasting is the key.
And would you say autophagy being like a cellular cleaning process that like, the way I kind of always explain this, just to tell me if I'm right, is that sort of the lesser needs, so the dead and the broken cells, maybe the mutated cells start to get broken down first, like in order. So by in the fasted state, you're in a way sort of cleansing your body, putting your body through like a service.
That's right.
Yeah.
And cleaning those senile, almost dead cells, and the nasty cells that are releasing those chemicals.
So say if you didn't go into autophagy like ever, and you're constantly eating all the time, obviously then that fat in certain places isn't ever getting broken down, but also the senile cells there aren't getting attacked and broken down. Could that be a contribution towards like more serious health benefits such as cancer if you just constantly kept in that process?
True. And that's exactly right. And we can measure that. We can measure the level of inflammation in your body by a blood test called CRP. CRP will tell you how much inflamed you are. It's not to be done when you have a sore limb or a sore joint, because it will be falsely elevated. But if you're feeling well, get a CRP test done. It'll tell us how much inflammation you're carrying, and autophagy is one way of getting rid of that inflammation, inflammatory cells.
Absolutely. Like that's when I got that sepsis. Mine went up to 248.
Okay.
So.
Well, that was not a measure of inflammation inside you, but that was obviously inflammation on a limb.
Yeah, absolutely. So was it meant to be less than 5? Five would be high inflammation.
5 would be high. Under 1 is amazing.
Yeah.
So 0.7, 0.8 is good. But under 5, over 5 means there's infection.
Yeah.
Under 3 means, or over 3 means there's inflammation.
Yeah.
And you need to have under 3.
Do you know of any side effects that would come from being fasted? Because people worry, right?
Yeah,
that when you
right,
say when people haven't heard and they've had previous generations of eat little and often, and you have to constantly feed your body. People think they have to constantly be in this fed state, and when you tell them that the natural sort of, adaptation for your body is to be fed and fasted, because your digestive system actually gets a chance to down-regulate, right? It gets to have a break in a way.
That's right.
That when you say to people don't eat, they look at you like you're crazy. Is there any kind of bad downsides of fasting in a way?
I don't think so. There's any bad downsides, side effects. Maybe you get the ketotic breath when you start building ketones in your body, breaking fat. Sometimes you can smell that musty odor, or others can around you. But other than that, I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely. And people say when they say first do a longer fast, they might get a little bit shaky or something like that. Then over time, when they constantly do it, that kind of seems to disappear. Do you know like the reasoning behind any of that?
I think your body, your stomach is so used to having food thrown at it every 2 hours that once you don't throw that food in, it releases certain hormones which stimulate your brain. And you know, when you get hunger pangs, you're making those chemicals from your stomach. And I think initially, when the stomach is waiting for that, or your brain is waiting for that chemical, you do feel a bit uneasy, and you do feel those hunger pangs. But you need to drink enough water. I mean, I started doing, when I was just getting started with intermittent fasting, I used to drink a lot of water every time I used to get hunger pangs, or a cup of espresso, and the hunger pangs would go away. So that's the. But you get over it. After a few months, you don't feel that. You just feel good.
Absolutely. And as I keep saying to people, that people kind of accept the fact that when you start training, you're going to be sore. And then over time, you get less sore, and you actually have to up the stimulus to get that soreness in a way. And yet people find it hard to realize that when you change your diet or go into fasting, it's an element of training your body into the fasted state. Like, it's not used to going into ketosis, you know? So like when you get that, it's not like it's always going to be like this forever. Like if you've never trained, you started training and you think, oh, I'm always going to be like this, why the hell do you do this? It's not. As your body adapts, then obviously you don't get those adverse effects so much.
Exactly right.
Honestly, man, I cannot thank you enough for coming in. I really appreciate it. So Dr. Satbir, over at Ageless Clinic, and sort of all over the place. This guy really knows his stuff, as you can see. Go down and see him. And when I first met this guy, I went down and just said, like, I don't have any problems. I'm fine. I just want to know how to be better. And the first thing this guy does is does all my bloods, my heavy metals, like tests through and gives you a big look at what's actually coming in and what's actually happening to your body. So even if you're not in a place where you're sick, people associate doctors with being sick. And they go, right, I'm sick, go there, get prescription. But Dr. Satbir, obviously he can help you when you're sick, but like if you're not sick and you just want to be better, which is the situation that I was, I heard about this guy, went in there, got everything tested, and had the ability to know exactly where I was and where I can improve and how I can get better, and hence, well, I can't shout his name high enough. So
thank you for having us.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.